Hey Cancers, this is Leah with Half Moon Tarot. I will be doing your April 2024 reading. I've already meditated over the cards and asked that Spirit bring whatever is necessary for you to hear, for you to know, expect, and be prepared for. April 2024 Cancers. It's like you've been really sitting in the pocket, Cancers, right? I think that from the outside world, it just really feels like you've been sitting back and really being in an observant space. But really, what's going on behind the scenes, you've been doing a lot of work. You've been doing a lot of spiritual work. Some of the cancers have been doing a lot of meditating and praying. And if you are of the religious belief, you've been reading your Bible, your Quran, whatever it is that you've been doing. And I don't think that people understand the healing that you are currently going through this month. It looks like there's a lot of emotional baggage that is coming off, that you are stripping away, you're releasing and letting go. And it's all because you have been doing this spiritual work in the background. Okay. Queen of Wands, the Judgment card, and the Eight of Cups tells me this. The Queen of Wands, very traditionally, if she was a wife, she would be seen and not heard, right? She's very in the background of things, making sure that things are getting done in the household. If there are conversations with her partner, they're happening behind the scenes. There's really no hiccup within the public eye, right? And that just lets me know that you are really in the outside world, you're really sitting back in that observant space, right? But like I said, behind the scenes things are happening, and I really believe that you're taking this month to really heal the vessel that is you. Okay. In the Queen of Cups there is like a tree, and that indicates to me that a lot of this healing is coming from that familial lineage, right? More specifically, the maternal lineage. Okay. And it is almost like you, like a flip switched. And it's like, I have got to heal this part of me because I can see where it's holding me back in certain spaces. Okay. So there is action, there is passion that is happening with you. It's just happening behind the scenes. And really, that ain't nobody else's business. Okay. The Judgment card is coming up, and we all know that that Judgment card is about connection and how we form that connection and that relationship with, our higher self, whether that be God, universe, spirit, Gus in my terms, Gus, God, universe, spirit. And it also speaks to the fact that you are being observed yourself. You are being watched yourself. This could be by coworkers. This could be by your children. This could be by your partner. This could be by friends and families, adversaries, acquaintances, whomever. But there are eyes on you, but it's more of a study eye. They are studying you to learn what is happening with you. They are witnessing an inward change within you where before there would have been a pop off, right? It's like there's no energy to put towards that because that's not my fight, right? So looking at just those two cards, the Queen of Wands, the Judgment card, you have formed this connection with Gus that that is healing that emotional part of you. And what indicates the emotions is that Eight of Cups, and that Eight of Cups talks about this emotional baggage that we carry around, that we loop through several times a day, and what I take from this being the maternal side, obviously, is because of the Queen of Wands, but it is more like, I don't want to repeat this cycle. right? And the eights indicate cycles. And we are releasing this emotional baggage in order to not repeat the cycle. And people are noticing, right? And that's nothing for you to shy away from. That is nothing for you to talk about because, like I said, it's nobody's business. Let them watch, right? You keep with your routine, you keep with creating that relationship, okay? The Three of Swords here, the Three of Swords speaks to, it could speak to heartbreak. It could speak to the words that we speak, not only outwardly, but the words, more importantly, that we speak to ourselves. And I believe that is it. Now you're seeing a change, right? You are starting to, and not a change as in we are releasing those things. You know how to utilize the things that you're saying to yourself now. Because one thing about it that those self-help books and the people will never tell you is that the words that you say to yourself doesn't go away. We just have to utilize them in a different way, right? So the thing that gets you going, the thing that makes you rest, the things that you say to yourself to push through, right? Though everything that we say to ourselves can be utilized in a way that is going to be a positive for us and not always looking at it from a negative point of view. So I think the things that you're saying to yourself, you're starting to utilize those things, right? The things that we said to ourselves in the heartache and the heartbreak, or the things that we say to ourselves in the space of how we are going to show up, all of those things can be utilized in appropriate spaces, right? So in the heartbreak, it was like, dang, how can I be so stupid, right? And how did I not see those things? That can then be utilized in a space of when we need to learn more, when we see the red flag, we are going to cut it off, or we are going to learn more about it, gain more knowledge, have some more compassion, right? So it can be utilized in a space that doesn't always have to be a negative. There's two coins. There's two sides to every coin, right? So my brain is moving faster than my mouth, right? So there's two sides to every coin. So in the words that we speak, there's going to be two sides to that thing. They don't have to be opposite because they're the same thing. They're just two different perspectives. Okay. The Tower card talks about growth, connection, and growth. Those are your two major arcanas this month: connection through the Judgment card and growth through the Tower card. Now, with the Tower card sitting between the Judgment and the the Eight of Cups, like I said, you're releasing that baggage. That's where that Tower card comes in. We're releasing those emotions that we know do not serve a purpose within this particular situation. Okay, whatever that situation is, and there will be several that pop up this month, Cancer, and you will know what emotion to lead forth with because we've been sitting back. We've been in a space of observance. We've been in a space of our emotional connection to our higher self. We've been in a relationship with that higher self. So this causes us to have this reaction of growth, right? And we will start to feel like we're lighter, right? We'll start to show up more appropriately with that Three of Swords. If we got to be the villain that day, then damn it, that's who we got to be. If we got to be the hero that day, then damn it, that's who we got to be. If we got to sit back and be the observer in a neutral space while things happen around us, then that's who we have to be. But we will be appropriate in that space. It's like you are learning how to allow things to happen. You're relinquishing control over certain things, maybe certain people, and you're just sitting back and watching. And as you sit back and be in observation of that, you'll see how things grow naturally on their own and what big things those could turn into, right? And we will realize that we were maybe blocking their blessings or blocking our blessings in the process of trying to quote unquote help, right? Quote unquote be of assistance. right? Be their net, right? But when you really sit back and look at it, you'll realize that situations have their own nets. People have their own nets, and people have their own rock bottoms, and sometimes people have to get there in order to know that they're safe and they can do their own thing and they can have their own growth. And I really believe at this point in time, Cancer, you're going to start to find your own net and find your own safety. And that's where the growth starts to happen. Okay. We have the Seven of Swords as our last card. And this talks about how, this talks about the words that we speak to ourselves, right? This is about utilizing those words, like I said before, in the best way possible so that we can find that growth, so that we can find that relationship with our higher self. And we're utilizing these things, right? And sometimes when we say those things to ourselves, we got to prove that thing wrong, right? That's another utilization. You know, I was so, I'm not happy with my body. Okay. All right. Now that I know that thing about me, how am I going to counteract that? Right? How am I going to use that to actually become happier with my body? Right? So all of the things that we deem as negative that we say to ourselves is just finding deeper knowledge of where that thing comes from, which takes me back to the Eight of Cups, right? There is an emotional bind to that thing that if we have that thought, there is an emotional bind to that. So now we're going back and we're in deep observation of ourselves. We're in our spiritual practices to start to unbind ourselves from the thing so that we can have emotional growth in that, right? All the while we're going out and taking the action to be happier with our bodies, to be happier with the way that we look, to be happier with the way that we think, to be happier with the words that we say. So it's this dual action that is happening between our spirituality and the physical things that we do, so that those two things can have a relationship. And we're using the things that we say in the Seven of Swords card to be in utilization of the physical things that we do, to be in utilization of the spiritual practice that we have, to then drop away from that emotional baggage that we have, right? To then know how to show up appropriately, right? To then have that growth. So all of these moving parts about you, Cancer, are essentially making its way to the surface in real time. Like as everything is happening, it's happening in real time. And that is what you are observing. Those are the things that we're taking action towards in the background. Okay. And it's nobody else's business, right? So we don't have to talk about our process. We don't have to tell people what we did this morning. That is our own intimate relationship that we're having, that we're growing, that we are getting to know ourselves, having that relationship with self to where it is nobody else's business. Okay. All right, Cancer, that has been your April 2024 reading. If this resonates with you, drop down in the comments. Let's have a conversation around it. If not, baby, it don't apply. Let it fly. Go to the next one. All right. I will talk to y'all next month. Bye.